Trying out demos is the perfect opportunity to test out new and upcoming cozy games so you know if on full release they are going to be worth your hard-earned money or not. Steam Next Fest is one of these many showcases where there are lots of demos on offer. Sadly, the Next Fest is now over, however some of the demos featured in today's video are still live, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my thoughts on 10 of them. Obviously I didn't get a chance to try everything because there was so many, but if you did manage to try out some demos, please let me know in the comments what you tried and what you thought of them. Don't forget to like and also subscribe for more cozy game content, but let's get into the video. Over the past few months, I've definitely got back into reading, and when I saw this game, I was very excited to combine my love of cozy games and books together. This is Bookbound, and it is a pixel-style bookshop simulator. As you would expect, the game did start with some character customization, and there were so many options here, it took me a while to flip through all of them. You just sometimes had to be a little bit patient, as sometimes people would walk in front of you when you were trying to change, which was definitely something I've never experienced before. Opening a shop was pretty daunting, but thankfully I did have a talking book called Stefan who guided me through everything I needed to know. It was nice to have kind of a humorous take on the tutorial. Sometimes they can be a little bit boring, but this wasn't. The mechanic of setting up your store was pretty straightforward. You get to buy a bookshelf and of course a till. Then you order your books, which can come in a number of different genres. Then when your delivery has arrived outside, you get to stock your shelves. The gameplay loop of running your shop was nice, as there were quite a lot of different things to do, such as keeping the shop clean, helping direct customers to the right shelf, and of course serving them at the till. This did require a little bit of math, but thankfully it wasn't too complicated. As you progress, you can also run advertising campaigns by going out into the world and trying to entice people through the doors. This minigame was pretty straightforward. When you had one person you were trying to draw in, but it got a lot harder when there were a lot of groups, so definitely something that I needed to try and master. Generally, the demo did run very smoothly, and there were a few things that could have been improved on, like there was a little bit of rubbish that spawned near the entrance of the shop, which was a bit of a pain to clean as I kept clicking to go outside, and when the books fell off the shelves I kept clicking on the bookshelf itself, which was mildly annoying, so sometimes it was just a little bit hard to pick on the exact thing that you wanted. Graphic wise, obviously the game is pixel art. I really like pixel art style games. They're very nostalgic for me, and this is gonna either be a personal thing or not for you as to whether you like them. I do think maybe we have seen more detailed pixel art style games out there, but I didn't mind these graphics at all. There were, however, some weird lines occasionally which went through the text and sometimes around the icons, so I really hope that got fixed for full release. Overall, I'm definitely going to be playing this full version, and the full version is actually out now. I'm just trying to find time to play it, as it did have that kind of casual simulator feel to it, and it kind of felt nice, wholesome, definitely a way that I could relax with this one, which is always a plus side for me when playing simulator games. The second game I tried was Tiny Garden, and this one again combined some of my loves. This time around it was one of my most loved childhood toys, the Polly Pocket, with a farming simulator. So this game, you are given a shell just like you have when you had a Polly Pocket toy in real life, and once you open it you will see that the top half of the shell is like a shelf area, and this is the area where you'll be able to decorate and reflect your own style, and then the bottom half is where you will run your garden. The garden mechanics here started off pretty straightforward, as you plant your crops and then you turn the handle, which moves forward time and allows your crops to grow. Once harvested, you will then take your crops you have grown to the shop and you will trade them for other items. This mechanic was really quite interesting, as you needed to obtain different combinations of crops to unlock more items and seeds instead of kind of selling them and then using your money, so it really did incentivize growing each and every kind of different crop. As I got further along into the gardening, it began to get more complex and definitely introduced a strategy element to the farming, which was nice and kind of a breakaway from your traditional farming sim, as each plant you place will have an effect on the land, and this can affect certain crops and they can only grow on certain types of land. Although this will take a while to master, I am glad that it was not just an oversimplistic farming system, and I do enjoy light puzzling, so it was a nice combination. You just have to be a little bit patient, kind of figuring out what is that winning combination. Aside from unlocking new seeds, you can also discover new furniture items. There's also stickers which you can use to decorate the outside of your shell case. The furniture items in the demo included a variety of things to make your very own home, and there were a few customization options which I do love to see. When it came to actually placing the items, it was pretty easy. However, as it is quite a small space, sometimes it did feel a little bit finicky at times if you were trying to squeeze a lot of items in there. Overall, this game combined a lot of different cozy game elements that I love, and also a bit of nostalgia. It definitely has a lot of potential, and it could be a really nice casual farming game, and it has a good incentive to kind of keep playing because of all of those unlockable items and wanting to decorate that space to make it look really, really cute. We do actually have a release date for Tiny Garden, and it's going to be available on Steam from the 8th of April, so not long to go. And number 3, we have Ritual of Raven, which is being developed by the same team that made the ridiculously adorable sticker shop simulator Sticky Business. This game takes a very different direction though from their first title, as it offers a story-driven farming simulator experience. In the demo, you follow a girl from a non-magical world who is unexpectedly transported through a portal into an unfamiliar magical realm. The main goal is to unravel the mystery behind the portals, and throughout the journey you will meet a lively cast of characters who each need assistance. The majority of quests and side quests I experienced revolved around farming, and the farm mechanics here may not be for everyone, but I did find them to be quite unique. Instead of the player being required to do the backbreaking work of ploughing, harvesting, etc., you'll be able to create arcana constructs using movement and action cards. I personally found this to be quite enjoyable. I've not really kind of experienced gameplay like this before, and you had to plan out the route to take, and it definitely felt quicker than going through some of the monotonous farming actions that you experience in normal farming simulator games. I was also able to experience portal fishing, which was kind of like a claw machine, but you can obtain mysterious rewards and furniture. In the demo, I didn't get to experience what these did, but I'm always excited for the prospect of decorating, especially in this game. The map was quite a good size, and it did look like there'll be a few areas to unlock, so I'm a bit thankful that there are teleporters available in the game. I do feel like they could make the exploring a bit less of a drag by allowing players to be able to jump to access cliffs, as this would definitely speed things up, but overall I did enjoy the running around and foraging. There is character customization, and it was okay. It wasn't all that detailed, but it is a pixel art style game, so when you're on the map you don't really need that kind of level of detail. I did love that you got to see your face during the dialogue boxes, so you could get a closer look at your character, and they had flower crowns, so that's immediately plus 10 points for me. Ritual of Raven is definitely going to be one to keep your eyes on and wishlist if you're a fan of pixel art graphics, all things witchy, and you want a farming experience that is a little bit different. I'm excited to see more of the story for this one. Last year, I fell in love with the cozy street management game Minami Lane, and this year the developers are back again with another adorable title. This is Kabuto Park. Although the demo was very short and sweet, and there isn't really a tutorial yet, I can just tell this game is going to have so much potential to be an uplifting, wholesome game. In Kabuto Park, you play as a child who is on a summer adventure to capture as many bugs as possible. The minigame for the bug catching just involved clicking at the correct time in the green space, which we do see frequently in games, and if I had to be super picky, it would have been nice to see something a bit different, but it does work and it does fit with the overall vibe of the game. In the demo, I was able to explore one area, but in the full game there will be a few different habitats to venture into. Once you have caught all the bugs your pockets can carry, you are then able to buy upgrades at the shop and even battle with other bug catching kids. The battle mechanic was using various cards, and you have to be a little bit smart to push the other bugs off of the platform. It's kind of like a little mini sumo fight but with bugs. I did find that if you're making kind of relevant upgrades, you don't really have to be too overly strategic, and I never lost a fight. I'm not sure if this was just because it was very early on, and I'm sure it will get harder as I progress. Just like Minami Lane, the team have smashed it again with ridiculously adorable graphics, and I just adore this art style. I love these games. Please keep making more of them, because it's nice to have smaller games that are attainable to finish and kind of wrap them up. And a few months later, you can go back to them and still enjoy them, because that is exactly what I did with Minami Lane. So definitely wishlist this one if you're looking for shorter, cute games. The next game I tested was Solar Punk. This is another game I've had my eye on for quite a while. I do love a good survival game, and this one has always come across as quite wholesome. I really like the way the graphics look. Straight away when you arrive in the game, there wasn't really any dialogue, just a few quests pinned in the corner to show you the ropes. For me, this wasn't necessarily a negative, as I would rather get stuck in, and if you've played a few survival games, you kind of know how it works. But if you do love a story, this may be something that is important to you. I'm not sure how this will be in the full version, whether there'll be any sort of intro to the game at all. As I worked through the small quests, I quickly picked up the different mechanics, such as collecting the resources, crafting and farming. None of this was overly complex, and once I had collected some resources, I was able to try out a bit of building, and there was a specific build hammer to do this, which did give lots of options for building basics, and I think there'll be a good amount of possibilities to create and customize your own home. Some of these were obviously locked for the full version as well. The days did feel quite long, and I'm not sure if this was just because I wasn't utilizing the bed as much as I should have been, but the resources did seem to respawn at good rates, so there was still quite a lot to do. But sometimes I do wish there had been more of some of the items, specifically the sticks. For a demo, this did feel quite smooth, and I didn't encounter any bugs or issues, which is always a good sign. I will also mention that the game is first person. This may be a turn off for some of you due to motion sickness. To summarize though, I did enjoy the game. However, from what I've played so far, everything did feel familiar and not all that fresh. Perhaps this is because I've recently played a game like Aloft, which is another floating island game, and there seems to be a lot floating around at the moment. Excuse my overuse of the word floating. I really do hope that in the full version of the game though, we will get to see more of the solar punk aspect, as in the demo it did feel a little bit lost, and maybe there'll be some more guts as well. Next we are on to Bloomtail. As soon as I saw this game, it was immediately on my wish list, as I am obviously a fan of flowers. I have been praying for so long that a cute florist simulator would come along, and it finally has, and this one even has a cat main character, so I was immediately sold. The game starts as you step inside your grandmother's old shop, and you're greeted by the talking cat, who actually helps you learn the ropes and is kind of your mentor for florist shop running. There are various different screens which all have their own purpose, from the garden where you select the flowers, the crafting table for making the bouquets, and the main shop counter. There is also a phone which allows you to receive orders and check up on the flower details, which will be important for orders later. This was a nice element, even though it is your grandmother's shop. Maybe they were just into the 21st century, which is good to see, and it did just add kind of another element to the game as well. My favorite part of the demo was definitely creating the different bouquets though, as you could really get creative with your different flower choices, and also the different kind of bows and wraps as well. That was fun. Some of them will have specific kind of criteria that you have to meet, but it was nice to be able to kind of take those and put your own little spin on it. The game also has some dialogue with a few different characters, and you can get to know them. The dialogue did feel a little bit superficial, but I guess you don't generally have deep chats with your florist, so there is that. I did really enjoy this game overall. I definitely will be buying this one when it's on full release, and it looks like there is going to be an option to decorate your shop in the full version as well, which I am sold on too. Occasionally, to wind down, I do enjoy a cute little puzzle game, and Bento Blocks definitely delivered on that front. The aim of the game here is to fit all of your lunch into the little bento box, but the problem is they come in various shapes and sizes, which will require some manipulation to squeeze them in. To fit them in, you'll be required to slice the food, but there will also be multiple solutions. The aim is to do it with as few cuts as possible. As there were multiple ways to do this, I didn't feel that it was too much of a challenge, especially earlier on, and if you found a particular level too hard, you can always make more slices and just make that sacrifice of the score. As it was a demo though, I do expect this to get harder as you progress, but so far I did think it had a nice chill vibe to it. The graphics of the game are so adorable, and the gameplay controls are really smooth. I hope that this will be compatible for the Steam Deck, as this is definitely something that I could see myself relaxing with playing handheld. If you like this sort of gameplay, I'd recommend adding it to your wish list, as the release date isn't yet announced and it's still listed as coming soon, so keep an eye on it. At number 8, we have Wanderstop, and Wanderstop is actually now available as it released on the 11th of March, but I took a look at the demo and everything that I saw was a very promising taster. The game is an eccentric farming come tea shop simulator, and the narrative really drew me in here, which can be hard to do sometimes. In the game, you play as a troubled main protagonist called Alta. Alta is a warrior, but she's going through a tough time, and she has stumbled across the tea shop whilst trying to find a master to train them. The dialogue was well thought out, and you could really feel the inner turmoil of the main character, who clearly wanted to pursue their dreams, but in the same time, they needed to take a break. This is probably a relatable feeling for a lot of adults. The tea shop owner was called Baro, and he was a joyous character. It was really nice to see the contrast between the two main characters, and Baro really just was a ray of sunshine. The farming mechanic here was also pretty interesting, as you can create hybrids when seeds are placed in a particular pattern. The actual making of the tea was also compelling, as there was a large contraption that requires you to scale ladders and pull levers. This was fun to experiment with, but I do hope when it comes to the full game, it does not end up becoming a little bit tedious, as there was quite a lot going on here. The explanations and the tutorials were really well done. I didn't end up feeling lost, which could have been a possibility as there was quite a lot of moving parts here. There was also a field guide which you can refer to, and I think that is always good for games like this, because sometimes I do miss things, so it's nice to have that reference point as well. Wanderstop's graphics were also really nice, and the overall vibe was a little bit mysterious, yet it was still really beautiful, and the colours of the game really popped nicely. The demo did provide a nice introduction to the game, but I want to play the full version to see the true depth of how the game plays over time, as sometimes simulator games like this can get a little bit repetitive. But overall, as someone who doesn't like tea, this is definitely a promising start. The next game I tried was the adorable puzzle game Instance, and although this is described as a puzzle game, this was probably one of the most chill and relaxing puzzle games I've ever tried. The focus is all about scrapbooking, and you're given a set of photos to try and arrange in the correct chronological order. This is done by deciphering the contents of the pictures, and at times it was a little bit tricky as you're kind of looking into someone else's life and family story, but there are hint options available, and there is also a useful arrow system which let you know if you're hot or cold, so I never really did find myself getting too stuck. Once you've found the correct order, you can add your own flair with the variety of stickers, washi tape, patterns, and more. For a demo, there was a good variety of different things to play around with, and as someone who is not brave enough to do scrapbooking in real life out of fear of messing up, I really did enjoy the opportunity to do it virtually. The one downside for me was maybe that some of the explanations as to what was going on and like the tutorial could have been a bit better, but as it's not an overly complex game, once I'd figured out what to do, it did work nicely. This is another game that I would love to play handheld. Sadly, there isn't a release date yet, but it is coming this year. And finally, we have Is This Seat Taken? This is one of the cutest puzzles I've played in a while, and probably the most polite puzzle game I've ever played. The game revolves around the idea of seating waiting people in places that will make them happy by listening to their pet peeves, and this did add some good humour to the game. The demo featured a variety of different locations, including a bus and a cinema. I'm sure there'll be lots more to offer in the full game as well. As I progressed, there was kind of added levels of complexity, and you would see new characters such as smelly or loud people, and then you have to consider these into your seating preferences as well. It was super easy and clear to see what people wanted as they were displayed on little cards, and you could also see your progression to your next level as well, so I like to have that in the corner too. I really like the look of this game and the feel of it, the graphics, the overall art style. They were really eye-catching and bold, which you don't often see, so it was nice to have that. The developers have said that this will be suitable for the Steam Deck upon release, which makes me happy, and it is also advertised as coming to mobiles as well. The demo is still live at the time of recording if you want to give this one a test too, but there is no release quite yet. So there we have it. There are 10 demos I've tried and tested for you. I think the game I'm most looking forward to is Ritual of Raven, because I think I could spend a lot of time in that one. But honestly, trying all of these games made me excited for the rest of 2025's releases. Let me know in the comments if you tried any of these, and I'll see you again soon with another video. Bye bye!